Am I the asshole for wanting my mother to feel regret with her way of raising me? I'm 29 female, taking care of my mother, 59 female. My younger siblings are still studying in uni. I'm the eldest, as well as the only one with a stable income. I'm also helping to pay for most of the bills. My father died when I was 6, and my mother never remarried and worked hard to support all of her children. She's retired and wants to spend her remaining years with her friends and family. She lives with me. My relationship with my mother is tenuous. She raised me to be strong and was very strict with me. Let me preface by saying this. I will never blame her for working as hard as she did, because I recognized that her working was to support everyone and that it was her way of showing love by making sure that everyone had all their basic needs met. I understand that even more now that I'm a working adult too. Now that she's no longer working, she can finally be present in our lives. She's trying to be around this time, taking plenty of pictures and videos, and I know that this is her trying to make up for lost time, but at the same time, I feel jealous, seeing my siblings getting the gentler treatment and more love than the indifference that I got. I did not even get any verbal congratulations for all of my achievements. No pictures, no videos, and yet my siblings got it all. It's not my siblings' fault, it's just my mother trying to be a mother and being terrible at it. It's such a shallow thing to get angry about, but even knowing this, I am still so angry. So I've started being honest about my emotions and past experiences at home. I asked if she told my sister that she was worthless when my sister had her breakdowns, when she bought gifts for my siblings. I said, shame we don't have pictures of me in the album one time when I was browsing albums with her. I made sure to only say these things when it's just the two of us around. My siblings were not at fault, they don't need to see me being hateful. It's just with my mum that I keep saying little things like this. I haven't returned home in nearly 2 weeks, just staying at hotels and going to work, after an argument with my mother where she finally had enough with my words. She said that I'm not her daughter, because no children of hers would ever make her feel terrible after everything she has sacrificed for us. So I just left my house and told her she can bring whoever she wants to keep her company because I am not coming home anymore. And that I'll still give her money so she doesn't have to worry about bills. Everyone is blowing up my phone now, saying I should apologize. My siblings understand, but they think that I was too harsh with my words. I don't want to because I think I'm not in the wrong for airing my grievances, but now that I have some time to self-reflect, perhaps I was too harsh with my words. Reddit, I'm quite used to people being harsh with me, so don't hold back. Am I the asshole for wanting my mother to feel regret? I'm gonna go with no. I mean, you haven't given us the conversations where you're saying harsh things to her. If I saw those conversations and what you specifically said to her, maybe my mind would change. But she refuses to acknowledge that she treated you differently in a way that is much worse and more neglectful than she currently treats these other children. And instead of apologizing or trying to make things right in any way, she's deflecting and saying that you're a horrible person. She's saying that you're not actually her daughter. Well, you know, I don't think that you would feel like you were her daughter after going through all of that, so fair enough. Anyway, that's just really messy. I'm gonna go with not the asshole for this one. Now in the comments, not the asshole. I think it's time for you to separate from your mother and let her rely on herself and your siblings for support, both emotional and monetary. Your mother sounds like she doesn't recognize or refuses to recognize the difference in her behavior to you. You need to have a serious conversation about your childhood with her. Then, or before, you need to have a conversation with your siblings, because they need to know how you were raised differently than them, and while you don't blame them, they shouldn't be blaming you for how the difference affects you. It sounds like the OP tried, and OP's mum is in denial mode, / trying to rewrite the past. OP doesn't deserve to be functionally homeless because of a toxic home environment. OP is not the asshole, and needs to tell her roommate it is time to leave. Wait. She told you you were not my daughter, while she, who is only 59 and already retired, is sitting on her tush in your home where you pay all the bills and expenses? You are not the asshole. She is darn lucky you didn't say, well, if I'm not your daughter, I see no reason to support your early retirement plan to mooch from me. You have 30 days to vacate my house. It is utterly insane that you are staying in hotels while she sits and does nothing in your house. Not to mention that OP should not be her mother's retirement plan. OP supporting and paying her mother's way of life is not a sustainable retirement plan long term. Mother is only 59 and could have 30 to 40 years left in her. What happens if and when OP wants to get married, start a family of human children, get a pet or an exotic plant collection, and live her own life with her money? That's what I'm screaming. I mean, holy moly. Her mom is only 3 years older than me, and I can't imagine thinking I should retire during this time of my life. OP should be building her own future, not be expected to finance mom's life forevermore. I am the oldest and had to do all sorts of things, like housework and yard work, that my youngest sibling did not. I also had to help take care of said sibling. I had to be perfect, while my younger sibling got to screw up and keep screwing up. I was told my mother was not interested in attending my wedding. She only did because her sister forced her to. But 20 years later, made sure to fly across the country to attend all of my siblings' pre-wedding events. She even embroidered towels with siblings' wedding date for all family members who attended. She made no effort to meet my oldest for over 6 months, and then visited once a year until my sibling had kids. She flies to see them twice a year. I've tried talking to her. She tells me I'm jealous and insecure that she had more time and money for my sibling. So now I do not call her, and her feelings are hurt. My kids do not contact her, and she blames me. Therapy is helping me immensely. I wish I had done it a few decades ago. I suggest you find someone who can help you. You deserve to feel better, not the asshole. And now onto the update. Everyone helped me sort out my emotions. Thank you. I decided to try one last time. This time, I won't be Pagro, and brought my siblings and my paternal uncle to help mediate. I returned to my home and finally sat with my mother and told her how I felt throughout the years. I told her that I only wanted to be acknowledged and not be emotionally neglected, and that if she can be available for my siblings, then I hope she can try with me now. My mother refused to accept it. She refused to believe that she was partial to my younger siblings and that she only gave me tough love, that I was only hurting her by being ungrateful, and that I truly am not her child. She accused me of turning my siblings against her. Even with my siblings telling her the same thing that I did, she said she only did it for us and that we all betrayed her by hurting her like this. My uncle sided with my mother, saying that while he understood my feelings, I should have just accepted everything and let bygones be bygones because she's my mother who has sacrificed a lot for us. With that, I knew I wasn't welcomed anymore. I told her she can keep the house and that I'll still give her money and pay the bills until the day she dies, out of respect for providing me with necessities until I was an adult. I told her I will move away and that I won't come anywhere near her unless she is on her deathbed. I thanked her for raising me and left. I submitted my request to move my workplace to another branch so I can move to another state. I do not wish to be near my mother. I made sure my siblings will always be able to contact me if they need anything. I just signed up for therapy. I hope it'll help. I'm sad that this will mean that I won't have any parental figure anymore, but that's life. And edit, a lot of people are telling me that I should have just cut her off financially as well, but I cannot. Here, my siblings and I are legally required to take care of our elders. In this case, my mother. I would be charged with neglect if I don't. My uncle, however, is not required to take care of her. He has his own nuclear family, his wife and kids, to look after. I am the only one among our siblings working and having a stable income, so responsibility falls on me to take care of her, at least financially. Once my siblings have a stable job as well, they will have to do the same. And now in the comments, do you have a certain lifestyle that you are supposed to fund for her? Can it be the bare minimum? She won't starve, she has the house and the bills are paid. But you don't have to pay for gifts she gives to your siblings, correct? Obviously, my culture is different to yours. Sorry, I'm trying to understand what you are required to do. I understand in some countries is an actual legal requirement, or it was. Your mum seems to have stopped working awfully young. How long have you been supporting her? Can you create a fund to support your mother, so that if she spends wisely, she should be able to live on just the interest for life? If she spends the principal, she won't have money later in life. You can get your siblings to help contribute to the fund's balance. Then wash your hands of your mother. Your siblings can do as they please. Financially, you will have done your duty. If she overspends and needs more money, she can get a roommate. I understand in your culture it is a duty to repay what was given to you by your parents. In your case, financing you for 18 years. Can you stop paying her after 18 years? If she lives to be 100 plus, you will have to support her for 40 plus years. That doesn't seem fair. You'll be older than she is now. Best of luck. If I had to support my mother, I would not have been able to do it. I would have just had to take whatever negative thing that happens when someone doesn't financially support their parents. And OP replies, yes. Funding the bare minimum. Housing, food, and bills. Any other purchase is considered luxury/recreation, and it's not my responsibility. Yes, it's a legal requirement to take care of the elderly in my family. I'd be charged with neglect if I just leave her completely. There is also a social stigma around children that abandon their parents. They could be considered unfilial and, unwholesome. I don't know the correct English word for it. Basically, they won't be a good role model for society. Requests for promotions or salary increase could be rejected for this social stigma. Cutting my mother completely is not an option for me. Too many cons. I already started a fund for my mother 4 years ago, when she started living with me. She retired at 55, started living with me at 56. 55 plus is the recommended age to retire. She's considered old by the government. I had a hard time comprehending why people told me she's still young because of this initially. I'd imagine in the West, 55 plus is still young and working age. And yes, my siblings will help take care of her as well as soon as they have stable income. We are legally required to take care of her until the day she dies. So, yes, perhaps unfair, but what can you do? At least I plan to be the cool spinster auntie, so no marriage plans. I am expected to support her emotionally, yes, even after all of that. It's why I had to leave. Harder to fulfill my social obligation when I'm very far away. At best, she can only reach me by phone. My siblings are on the lookout if she plans to come to me. She cannot stand being alone and abandoned, traumatized by my father's death. This is also why it took me a while to make up my mind and leave. My guilty conscience as well as my remaining goodwill towards her was what made me endure for so long. My feelings towards my mother is not all negative. It's complicated. I both resent and love her, even now. Her words are hurtful insults, yes. It's like calling me a good-for-nothing leech. Thank you for the understanding and kind words. I am blessed to have come across this. I appreciate that it's cultural, but I do hope one of the outcomes of therapy for OP is that they stop paying for their mother, or at least split the expenses between themselves and their other siblings rather than shouldering the burden alone. Our next post is titled, "Boyfriend says he's not attracted to me." I have recently been in an argument with my boyfriend of 3 years because I've been feeling like I need to feel closer to him than I have been. We have been long distance the entire time we've been dating, and since March of 2020, we haven't seen each other because I'm American and he's Canadian. Recently, since the border is opened, I've attempted to get him to come here. It's easier for him to get away because he doesn't have work at the moment and I have children. But the border has been open again for months, and he uses COVID as a reason he doesn't want to go to the airport. When we started dating, he made sure he let me know that he needed me to lose weight so he could feel attracted to me, and within that next year, I lost 100 pounds and got to a healthy weight. I thought once I lost the weight that he'd be into me more physically, because that's what he said when he asked me to lose the weight. But that hasn't happened. Any sexual interaction that we've had has been very few and far between, and last year I had a major blow to my self-confidence when I found out while he hasn't been active with me, he was making gross pervy comments on barely dressed girls' TikToks. We got past that, he stopped following the 2,500 lewd accounts that he was following, and he cleaned up his act. But that blow to my confidence, plus how I already felt about losing the weight and still not being enough, has put me in a spot that I don't know how to get out of. During the argument, he said that the only way he could feel excited by me now is if I dressed up in cosplay. He also called my former body a smelly roly-poly, which, even though is not now, still hurts since I'm still the same person I was then. I'm not against the idea in general, but I'm a little hurt that the only way he can feel excited by me is if I'm pretending to be someone else. I wouldn't mind it as a once-in-a-while thing to spice things up, but I don't feel like I've ever gotten to be appreciated as myself, and though it might be stupid, that is how I feel. I told him this and got a whole earful about how boring and vanilla I am, which I'm not. I'm completely willing to do other stuff in the bedroom too. I just want to do it the majority of the time as myself. TLDR, problem 1. I'm not sure if I can actually regain my confidence while I'm with my boyfriend because of the things he says and the past hurts that he's inflicted, along with his unwillingness to compliment me or make me feel wanted or attractive. Problem 2, I'm worried that even if I do the things he asks, that there is going to be more and more added to it, and I'll never get what I want. In all honesty, I kind of just shut down from the start of this, and I'm like, yeah, he's a lost cause. I've delved into the depths of r/dead bedrooms enough to know that this guy's just not into you. He's just been holding on to you in this long-distance relationship. A partner that actually wants to be with you, come hell or high water, will make sure they get to that airport or make sure they come and see you. Yet the option is so open and available for him that he's like, you know what? Getting on a plane, it's just not worth my time. I don't want to go to an airport, you know? In this context, I understand he's using COVID as a reason for it, which can be a genuine reason. I don't know if he is very scared of COVID. I don't know if there are people that are immunocompromised in his life that he has to keep safe. But I think it's safe to make that assumption given the rest of the post. As a certified doctor with 300 years of experience, I can definitely say that those 2,500 lewd accounts point to the man, maybe having a porn addiction? Especially with only wanting you to dress up in cosplay and then calling you a smelly roly-poly, and then, you know, not liking you for you. I died reading this because, my god, how could anyone ever be with someone like this? This guy deserves the worst, I'm sorry to say, but like, he needs to sort himself out. Let's see what some of the comments have to say. This man will never be what you need. He will slowly destroy your self-esteem. Break up with him. I try not to be so blunt about that, but this relationship sounds really damaging for you with literally no upside. He is nowhere near you, and he is downright nasty to you. There is no decent reason to put yourself through this, and your kids should not see you in a relationship like this one. They look up to you, and you deserve better. There will be people you can actually see in person who don't make you feel like crap out there, if you just unshackle yourself from this dead weight. Congratulations on the 100-pound weight loss. With a 2-minute international phone call, you could lose another 200 pounds. Dump him. You'll find someone closer and better. Good luck. Time for you to leave. Nobody benefits from a slow death, and if he has spoken the words, he means it. He probably has somebody else, I'm sorry to say. Man, he's an asshole. I'm sorry. All I can say is find someone worth your time and effort, and honestly, all this time and you don't even get to have sex? I mean, maybe he's being honest, but to me, he sounds like he's still not attracted to you, even after the wait. Next it'll be get plastic surgery. I bet he ain't no prize. So I say move on to someone who makes you feel good about yourself. He should be telling you how proud he is of you for losing all that weight. Girl, I'm proud of you. Dump him. He doesn't make the effort to see you. He is chipping away at your self-esteem and refers to your body, past or present tense doesn't matter, in derogatory terms. The last I was aware is that relationships are two-way partnerships, so to avoid jumping to conclusions, I ask you to ask yourself, what enhancements is he bringing to your life that make you accept this behavior? Can you truly say your life is better with the interactions involving him in it? These two questions will really give you an answer. As a side note, well done for losing all that weight. I hope you feel comfortable in your new body and are proud of the commitments and achievements you made to yourself. And OP says, my answer used to be, because he's my best friend. But I'm starting to realize that best friends don't repetitively try to hurt the other. Exactly. The general advice I give to myself is only to match the efforts that I receive in return. That goes for romantic and platonic relationships. It stops me from being resentful of people for not matching my efforts. However, to go alongside this, you must also be aware of your own needs and requirements. If they aren't being met, I would say this warrants a very open and honest conversation with your boyfriend. If they get defensive or repeatedly won't meet you at your needs, then you need to decide, are you going to honor your own needs by ending that relationship, or are you going to accept your needs and requirements will never be a priority? And now, onto the update. It took me this long because he kept making excuses and talking me into coming back to him, and I guess I just fell for it. I've been trusting him more, so the bad feelings I had about TikTok were fading away a little, and I decided to download it again because my coworkers have been showing me funny stuff on there. Well, I went to go follow my boyfriend, and even though he told me he cleaned up his TikTok, I found him following an account that was literal porn disguised as breastfeeding. This girl was topless in the post, and I guess it got past TikTok because she was feeding her baby, but she was doing it in such a gross, sexualized manner that I felt gross looking at it like it was straight up CP or something. I reported the account and uninstalled TikTok after getting a few screenshots of my boyfriend's comment and follow on her, along with a screenshot of the account, and sent it all to him, and am just so mad and grossed out right now that I ended it for good. I don't really feel any sadness right now. I don't know if I will in a few days or not. I mostly just feel super grossed out and full of hatred. I don't know if I have ever been this mad before, and I definitely feel like all that time I spent trying to trust him again was frickin' useless. 3 years of my life down the drain, but it's better than more. I wish I would have listened to all the comments that I got from people, but I do think it helped at least make things easier right now to just leave. Maybe I needed to find this stuff to give myself closure that he wasn't really interested in making me happy. But in any case, I'm glad that I looked, and I'm glad I can close this chapter of my life. I'm going back to school starting this summer to finish my teaching degree, so I have some things coming up to keep me busy. I have just been spending tonight making sure he's blocked on everything, changing my passwords, and requesting a new debit card to make sure any automatic payments he has on it don't go through. Thank you, Reddit. And now in the comments, because you went through the process of giving him another chance, at least you won't ever have to wonder if you were too hasty or you made the wrong decision. Well done. I'm sorry that you went through this, but hey, you're healthy, young, and you got into shape, which is impressive. And now you're away from this gross man. You're gonna be okay. Never, ever, ever, ever date someone who starts the relationship treating you like crap. Seriously. I am so angry on your behalf that he told you to lose weight at the beginning of the relationship. I would really suggest spending some time on you, building your self-esteem, because it must have been poor to have tolerated that from him. He had access to her credit card? That should have been in line 1. He was using her for money and playing the do this then I will game to keep her stringing along. She was paying for things for him because he was unemployed? Lol? Yeah. The dude was living the life in another country and possibly had other girlfriend while OP was naively thinking that she wasn't good enough for the twat. Why would you date someone that you're not attracted to? On the other hand, why would you not break up with someone who says that to you when you just started dating? Because her self-esteem is in the cellar. It is subterranean. It's awful what some people will put up with in order not to be single. I know. I wish parents in society in general would stop making women feel like they have to have a man. It's not really a woman thing. Lots of guys stay in terrible relationships to avoid being lonely. We need to teach kids that it's fine to be single. Fair enough, but historically, women were told that the biggest accomplishments they could achieve in life was getting a husband and becoming a mother. But I do know a few men who got married due to loneliness, so your point is valid. When she said he followed 2,500 accounts and stopped, all I could think was he probably just set up another one that she didn't know about. How do you meet someone in another country and get in a serious relationship while you have kids and don't pick up on any of the flashing red flags? At least she's free of him now. Desperation and loneliness and very, very low self-esteem at a guess. Our next post is titled, I was pro-life until I found myself with an unwanted pregnancy and aborted. I deeply regret the things I've said and done. I grew up in a very strict Christian household. I remember being 9 years old, standing outside of clinics holding signs that I didn't really understand. But it made my mum proud, so I did it. As I got older, I too found abortion to be a disgusting act of taking an innocent baby's life. I remember when I was 16. My friend became pregnant on accident and told me she wanted to get rid of it. I screamed at her, recited biblical verses, anything I could to make her feel shame. She cried, and we haven't talked since. I genuinely thought I did the right thing, and my mum was proud. I too grew up to protest outside clinics. It's what I grew up doing. It was a church event. We promised the mothers resources if they chose life. I never bothered to check if this was true. I was blind with faith, and I now know that it wasn't. About 6 months ago, I got a positive test. I thought I was supposed to be excited, but I wasn't. I knew I couldn't afford this baby. It would ruin my life. I had just started a new job and was about to move. A baby would ruin everything. I cried and prayed for a week. I knew what I needed to do. I kept quiet, didn't tell my boyfriend or mum. No one knew. I made the appointment and things went well, and I try not to think about it. So now I realize what all those women that I shamed went through. I am fully pro-choice now. If I could take everything back, I would, but I can't. I feel so guilty. I struggle with my religion and faith now as well. And edit, the hate does not bother me. I do not want your pity or sympathy, so it's okay if you don't give it to me, like some of you were saying. I understand why you all feel the way you do though, and I wish you all well. And now in the comments, am I the only one who finds it extremely inappropriate to drag a 9-year-old to these protests? No, you're not the only one, but I have found that really religious people tend to start brainwashing at birth to make sure it sticks and is ingrained in the entire being. I've driven past protests that have children that are just learning to walk. You'd be surprised at how many pro-life people have abortions of their own. Sin for thee, not for me. The only moral abortion is my abortion. If you haven't googled that exact phrase and read all those stories, I think you're missing out a bit. It's quite an eye-opening experience. Honestly, I don't love these types of redemption stories. It shows a startling lack of empathy and hypocrisy. I have found in my experience that these types of folk don't have sympathy for anything they personally haven't had to deal with. I guess I'm happy that this person came around, but what other things are they not sympathetic about? How many other issues do they ignore or are hurtful about? For example, more times like the alienated friend. The hypocrisy around sexuality and the religion is doubly infuriating. Abortion wasn't even a Christian issue, outside of Catholicism, until the issue was hijacked by the right wing in the 1970s. So this supposedly religious person who was railing against abortion, which isn't even a problem in the Bible, is having premarital sex, and that's okay. Infuriating. It's easy to have convictions until you actually have to live by them. Like OP. This is how I learned to have less conviction and judgment. Mr. Uppercut, I am taking your quote to share with others. So I think a good lesson is to separate conviction from judgment. Conviction is willing to live by a set of standards and values. Judgment is evaluating someone else's actions based on a set of standards and beliefs that they may not have even agreed to. In my opinion, if one isn't living a belief system out, it is not a conviction. And now on to the update. Sorry that it's taken me so long to update. I've been recovering. I finally broke the news that I was pro-choice to my boyfriend, like most of you suggested, because I felt guilty living a lie. Needless to say, he didn't take it well. He punched me, like straight up punched me. I could tell my nose was broken without even looking. He told me he hopes that God looks down on me and that I never get forgiveness. At that point, I didn't even tell him about the abortion. He doesn't deserve to know, and I was worried that he'd straight up murder me. He left, and I called 911. I told them what happened, and when the police arrived, they couldn't arrest him because he wasn't there. So they just took down some info and left. About an hour or so passed after my mum texts me. She tells me that she's ashamed, and she refuses to call me her daughter. I asked her if my boyfriend had told her, and she said yes. I asked her if she knew that he had also just assaulted me. She said she didn't care, and that that was not as bad as the punishment the Lord had waiting for me. I'm safe now though. With the help of a distant friend from high school, I got some stuff packed and left the apartment. My mum sent me a screenshot of a Facebook post about me from our church group. You can probably imagine what was said. I blocked her and everyone that interacted. My ex-boyfriend got arrested as well. I don't have a lot of info at the moment about that, but I haven't bothered to keep up. But I guess this is my karma for my wrongdoings in life. That's it. Thanks for those who offered support and advice. And now in the comments, so your boyfriend was okay with you two living together, having premarital sex, and apparently assault is fine, but you being pro-choice is where he drew the line. I'm glad you blocked them. This is not a healthy relationship. Convenient, right? Love thy neighbor. Unless thy neighbor doesn't hold the exact same belief system as yourself, then punch her in the face. If God is going to be judging anyone, it's your woman-beating piece of crap ex and your piece of crap mother. Agreed. Screw them and the snotty-ass judgmental church group talking crap about OP on social media. Bunch of hypocrites. This is why people have reservations about strong religious beliefs that interfere with others' personal choices. It's all love and butterflies until one of their own does something that they disagree with, and then they either change their mind, which is okay, or turn violent and hateful, which is not okay. I'm sorry that you've gone through this. This isn't your karma, and you didn't deserve to be assaulted or disowned. If anything, it can be the start of a new, refreshing life for you. Wait. He is so staunch in his religious beliefs that he would punch a woman he loves for even thinking abortion is okay, but he's perfectly fine with having unprotected premarital sex with that same woman. Somehow, it's always the woman who is the sinner in those situations. A dude has never been called used goods, even when all the other dudes know that he's had one or more partners. Some abusive men are very keen to get their partners pregnant and thus render them dependent. When she told him she was pro-choice now, what he heard was, "I've decided to deprive you of a method of controlling me." Normally, I hate all the psychoanalysis that can happen in the comments here, but anyone who could punch their partner for having a different opinion is absolutely, without a doubt, insanely controlling. I totally agree with you. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. Click like if you liked the video, comment down below if you've got something to say about all of this, and I'd love to see you on the next video. Bye!